It's that time of the year again, time to talk about my EDC in the summer of 2026. Now, if you've been around for a while, you will know that my EDC has pretty much not changed for a number of years, so I've been pretty consistent, but it is slowly evolving nonetheless. I am still very much interested in the topic of EDC, also known as everyday carry, and I'm testing out new items all the time pretty much, but I only feature the ones that actually stick around and that become a staple in my actual EDC rotation. However, there's no need to take up more of your time than is absolutely necessary. I'm sure you were just about to get up from the toilet, put away your smartphone and get back to work anyway. And so let's just jump right into it. And as always, let's start with the basics first, otherwise known as the phone, wallet and keys. I carry my keys in this Don Bolso leather key fob. It's pretty much just a piece of leather with a button that keeps my keys from rattling around, and I keep a stupidly expensive but fun little titanium fork on there as well, made by UG Tools. My phone is still the iPhone 15 Pro in a quad lock case. Battery life isn't exactly great anymore, and I think that I'm due for an update, so I will keep an eye out for Apple's releases in September, but for now, this is what I got. The quad lock case allows me to quickly mount my phone to my e-bike and my Triumph Scrambler, so it's particularly important during the summer. It also does offer great protection. I have dropped my phone a number of times without any issues at all. It looks bad though, not gonna lie. If quad lock could only make a slightly more elegant version of this, perhaps using leather or something, that would be much appreciated. But anyway, moving on to my wallet, which has actually changed because what I have here is the Taurus Camp mini grain wallet. Now, for transparency, I have actually received this beautiful wallet by Taurus Camp free of charge in exchange for featuring it in a video, which is also why this segment of this video will be marked as an advertisement. I do have a bit of a history with Taurus Camp and the grain wallet. I had originally bought one of their dark brown leather grain wallets a few years back, and after showcasing it in a few of my videos, they offered to send me the more refined and more high-end brother of that wallet, the grain wallet made from shell Cordovan leather. And I am on record stating that this is the best wallet that I've ever used. And I did use it for a number of years. But when I saw that they now also offer a mini version of the shell Cordovan grain wallet, I did the slimy YouTuber thing and just asked them if they were kind enough to send one over as well, and yeah, they did. So this then is the grain wallet mini in natural shell Cordovan leather. I got this about 4 months ago now, and even in that time it has taken on an incredibly lovely patina. As you can see, it is noticeably smaller than my regular grain wallet, which by the way is also natural shell Cordovan, and because of its size it really works best when I carry no more than 5 or at the most 6 cards in it. There is also room for a few bills behind the closing flap, and the general idea here is that it is a minimalistic, slim front pocket wallet that is made from just a single piece of leather and stitched together in just one place at the bottom, which in turn makes the entire construction not only very aesthetically appealing and slim, but also very strong. With this being a single piece of leather and those solid stitches at the bottom, there is just about no point of failure here, and so I have no worries that this thing will last for a long time. Shell Cordovan leather is also just beautiful in my opinion, feels buttery smooth to the touch and ages just beautifully. With its size, it also just disappears in the front pocket to the point where I regularly have to check if I even have it on me. The only downside here really is that one, there is no key slot on this one, which is not a big deal for me since I have to carry multiple keys nowadays anyway, so there is no way around having a key fob for me, but also there is no longer any room for the twisty pen that I used to carry in my bigger grain wallet. Bit of a shame, but not a big deal. This was for emergency use only anyway, and most of the time I have a more useful and more comfortable pen on my person or in my bag anyway. So for now I have kind of retired my bigger grain wallet and not carried it even once since I got this mini one. I will use it for a bit longer before I give you my final verdict, but right now I think it's very likely that this will be my new favorite wallet of all times. But anyway, moving on to my most worn watch, which is without any question or shadow of a doubt the Junghans Max Bill. This is the 34mm hand winding version, and I wear it on a leather strap made by Austrian company Hirsch. The Max Bill is not the best, the most accurate or the most robust watch on the planet. It's certainly not the most expensive one and not even the most expensive one in my collection, but it is beautiful, timeless, and due to its size and weight, it's just incredibly comfortable to carry. It also just fits into just about every setting that I tend to find myself in. It's not flashy or braggy or in your face at all, it's just quietly elegant. The crystal has gotten a few scratches over the years due to the watch being dropped a number of times, but much to my own surprise, that is about all the damage that I have to report. Other than that, it is happily ticking away. I wind it every morning. Accuracy is honestly not astonishing, but since it runs a few seconds fast every day, I'm usually not at risk of accidentally being late to a meeting or something, so overall, I don't mind it. I do have a few watches that I would like to acquire at some point in the future, if I can afford it, that is. But if I can't, no big deal. If this would be the only watch that I could wear for the rest of my days, I wouldn't have any problem with that whatsoever. Moving on to my flashlight of choice, which is on most days still the stainless steel Rovivon Aurora A2. It's a tiny flashlight that can be recharged via USB-C, and it puts out an outstanding 650 lumens on its brightest setting. This is small enough so that it's not annoying or in the way ever, and it's robust enough that it still works even after being dropped countless times and spending a few hours in our washing machine on a number of occasions. I did, however, also acquire 2 new flashlights earlier this year, which I've also carried occasionally throughout the winter, and those are the Lumentop FWAA and FW1AA in polished titanium. Both of those 2 flashlights run on 14500 lithium-ion batteries, and the ones that came with them are actually USB-C rechargeable, which is incredibly convenient. The main difference here is that one of them has a single LED emitter that is set back a bit further and putting out 800 lumens on its brightest settings, whereas the FWAA has 3 emitters and puts out a whopping 1600 lumens. So why would you want the single emitter version, considering they cost the same? Well, easy, because the beam of the single emitter version is more focused and therefore it has more reach, whereas the brighter beam of the triple emitter version has more spill and therefore illuminates a wider area, even though it can't reach out as far. Both are wonderful in their own right, but also a bit too big for everyday carry in my opinion. But I have carried these in my jacket pocket and occasionally in my pants pockets, especially for walks after work in the winter when it gets dark very early where I live, and they have been absolutely perfect for that. And last but not least, let's talk about my pocket tools of choice. To make it short, on most days I still carry the Victorinox Spirit X. I love this tool and I usually use it multiple times every day, and I also use almost all of the tools on here on a somewhat regular basis. I did buy the Synergy and Synergy X in beautiful red earlier this year, and I carry them quite often as well, especially now in the summer, but I'd say about 70 to 80% of the time I still bring the Spirit X. Yes, it is wider and heavier than the Synergy and the Synergy X, but in terms of its thickness, it actually sits right between the two, and the tool selection of the Spirit X is just way more useful and more versatile than either of the two. So yeah, my EDC tool of choice is still, at least on most days, the Spirit X. As an honorary mention, I also do occasionally carry the Böker BFF. I don't really have a need for a fixed blade in my day-to-day life, but I prefer using a fixed blade knife for stuff like food prep, cutting up fruits and veggies while on the go, that type of stuff, over using a folding knife for those tasks, for the simple reason that there is no sticky juice getting into any joints and gunking them up. And the BFF is also what I usually bring on most day hikes, both for food prep, but also just for some light whittling if I feel like it. I did also buy a semi-custom bushcrafting knife by Richard Kappeler, which might be the most beautiful thing that I've ever owned, but since this is certainly not an EDC item, I will not talk about it anymore in this video, but I still just wanted to mention it just because I love it so much. And that's pretty much it. I do also carry a handkerchief in my pocket at all times. These are just cotton handkerchiefs, which I buy in bulk from Amazon, and handkerchiefs do get a bit of a bad rap for just being used as a backdrop on like EDC posts on Instagram, but being the father of a 1-year-old, this gets used all of the time, and I run through a few of these every week. So yeah, Anyway, that's the current state of my everyday carry system. If you just care about EDC stuff, please do not subscribe to this channel because it will probably be another year or two until I drop my next EDC update video. But if you're also interested into cameras, photography, travel, bags, backpacks, and all of that sort of stuff, you might want to have a look around on my channel and see if there's anything else that might pique your interest. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another one. Until then, take good care. Bye.